had sufficient evidence to obtain and sustain a conviction against Mr. Donald Trump?
Yes.
For these charges stemming from Mr. Trump's criminal scheme to overturn the 2020 election, did you believe that you had sufficient evidence to prove these charges beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
And we know that it's more than just a reasonable doubt. Did you believe that there were multiple substantial federal interests in proceeding with prosecuting Mr. Trump after he attempted to criminally overturn the 2020 election?
I did.
Now, the second investigation that you were appointed to lead focused on the possession of highly classified documents at Mr. Trump's Mar-a-Lago social club following his presidency. When your office indicted Mr. Trump for willfully keeping highly classified docs after he lost the 2020 election, did you believe that you had sufficient evidence to obtain and sustain a conviction against Mr. Donald Trump?
Yes.
And for these charges stemming from when Mr. Trump left the office in 2021 with these highly classified documents, did you believe that you had sufficient evidence to prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
And did you believe that there were multiple substantial federal interests in proceeding with prosecuting Mr. Trump for his unlawful possession of these highly classified documents?
I did.
How many years of experience do you have as a prosecutor, Mr. Smith?
In total, I've been a prosecutor a little short of 30 years.
And can you give us a high-level overview of the different offices you might have worked in as a prosecutor?
Sure. I started my career as an assistant district attorney at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office in New York City. I prosecuted local crimes there for 5 years. Afterwards, I became a federal prosecutor in the Eastern District of New York, which is in Brooklyn and Long Island. And I was there for about 9 years. I prosecuted larger, more complex cases when I was there. I was eventually the chief of criminal litigation there. I left that office to go overseas and work at the International Criminal Court for a little short of 2 years. I coordinated investigations of the Office of the Prosecutor there. I then returned to the Department of Justice, where I was the chief of the Public Integrity section of the Department of Justice, and I did that for somewhere between 4.5 and 5 years. I left Washington, D.C. and moved to Nashville, Tennessee, where I was the first assistant U.S. attorney and then later the acting U.S. attorney in the Middle District of Tennessee, which is in Nashville. I left government for the only time in my career. I was worked for a private company for a brief period of time, a period of months, and then I was offered a position by the State Department to serve as a war crimes prosecutor at a European Union war crimes tribunal in The Hague, the Netherlands, and I was there for a little over 4 years before I became special counsel.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you just speak up a little bit?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the people in the back have trouble hearing you.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
And can you describe the types of cases out of all these years of experience? Just give us a broad overview of the seriousness of the case that you've brought in your career.
I've worked on all sorts of cases. Early in my career, I was a member of the offices in Manhattan, the domestic violence unit, and so I did a number of cases of people who are abusing domestic violence victims. Those are some of the most memorable cases in my career. I worked on gang cases, RICO gang cases, in the Eastern District of New York. I worked on the Abner Louima case, which was a assault of a Haitian immigrant by police officers. I did an international murder for hire case, other sorts of violent crime cases. I was one of the night of 9/11. I was part of the command center, and in the weeks afterwards, I was involved in responding to what happened on 9/11. After the Eastern District of New York, when I was overseas, I worked on war crimes cases that were in all sorts of different jurisdictions and all sorts of challenging investigative situations. And political corruption cases, obviously, when I was in public integrity and also in Nashville.
So taking all these cases you described, I heard cases about, gangs in New York. It sounds like there were war crimes cases, there were domestic violence cases you just described. Taking all that experience, when you finished your investigation in the Special Counsel's office, you believed that you had sufficient evidence in this case to prove Donald Trump committed those crimes after the 2020 election?
I did.
And you believe that you had enough evidence to get a conviction with Donald Trump taking or willfully taking the classified documents after he left office in 2020 and returned to Florida in 2021.
That's correct.
So we've heard a word a lot from this administration, from the majority Republicans, and that word is transparency. And yet, Mr. Smith, we're in a closed-door deposition today, meaning that members of the public and even congressional members and staff who are not part of the Judiciary Committee are not permitted to attend this proceeding. Did you offer to testify publicly before this committee?
Yes.
How did you offer, I guess, how did you make the offer to testify publicly to this committee?
I think it was through my counsel.
Did you send a letter to the committee? Did your counsel send a letter to the committee offering to publicly testify?
I think that's right.
We'll enter that letter into the record just for your background. And this will be Exhibit 7. It'll be an October 23rd, 2025 letter signed by Mr. Lanny Brewer and Mr. Peter Koski. It's addressed to Chairman Jordan and Chairman Grassley regarding Mr. Smith's public offer to testify publicly. Are you familiar with this letter, Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Can you tell us why you felt it was important to make a request for a public hearing?
I'm proud of the work that we did at the Special Counsel's office. I'm particularly proud of the people I work with, the career public servants I worked with, who've been vilified by President Trump and people who work for him, and I think someone needs to speak up for them.
Did you want to testify publicly because you had something to hide about your investigation?
No.
Did you want to testify publicly to rebut some of these accusations from the president that you just mentioned about your investigation?
Yes, that's what I meant. Accusations not just against me, but against career prosecutors, career FBI agents who have served our country and who've been vilified wrongly. I think it's really important to correct the record on that.
Were you granted the request to testify publicly before this committee? The answer's probably obvious as we sit in this room, but were you granted that request?
No.
Were you given any reasons or provided any reasons why you were not allowed to testify publicly and directly to the American people?
I don't recall that.
Are you aware that even President Trump thought that you should testify publicly before our committee?
I heard that.
Yeah, just to make it clear for the record, Mr. Trump said, and this is a quote, "I'd rather see him," as in Jack Smith, "testify publicly because there's no way he can answer the questions." So let's turn to a few of those questions. Do you recall the October 14th, 2025 letter to you from Chairman Jordan requesting a transcribed interview?
I know he sent a letter asking for me to be interviewed, yes.
We'll enter that into the record and make it Exhibit 8.
Thank you.
And I'll give you a second just to look through it as we pass it out. So in this October letter to you requesting a transcribed interview, the chairman characterized your investigation as, quote, "politically motivated prosecutions of Donald J. Trump," end quote, and said you conducted a, quote, "unnecessary and abusive raid of the residence," end quote, of Donald Trump, and that claimed that you, quote, "manipulated key evidence in the investigation," end quote, among other claims. Do you recall these accusations to you in the letter from Chairman Jordan?
Yes.
The Republicans of our committee have made these letters to you public. You can read it on the committee's website, including these accusations that your office was weaponized. But this proceeding is behind closed doors, and Majority Counsel just warned you earlier about keeping the contents of this deposition confidential. Do you remember that warning that you received at the beginning of this deposition?
Yes.
So we will get into this in more detail later, but just to quickly touch on this, do you agree with the majority's characterization that your office was weaponized?
No.
Was your special counsel's office weaponized in any way?
No.
Did you conduct a politically motivated prosecution of Donald J. Trump?
I did not.
Would you like to have explained directly to the American people why these characterizations are not true?
Yes, and again, particularly as to the career prosecutors and agents who've been vilified.
Are you concerned that given that this deposition is not open to the public and the public cannot hear your answers or observe your demeanor or hear the way that you're responding to questions from the majority, that some of your responses may be selectively published or released in a way that mischaracterizes your answers?
I would hope that wouldn't happen.
But are you aware that's a risk of your testimony here today?
I'm sure that's possible.
Based upon your knowledge, is it generally the practice for the special counsel who investigated presidential conduct to be given the chance to testify at a public hearing to be able to explain their findings to the American public?
Yes.
So let's just take a few of those. Are you aware of special counsel Robert Mueller testifying publicly before the House Judiciary Committee?
Yes.
For the record, that occurred in July of 2019. Are you aware of special counsel John Durham testifying publicly before the House Judiciary Committee?
Yes.
For the record, that occurred in June of 2023. Are you aware of special counsel Robert Hur, who came up earlier in the majority's hour, testifying before the House Judiciary Committee?
Yes.
For the record, that occurred in March of 2024. Also want to touch a little bit on, speaking of just transparency and a fulsome investigation into this committee's request for documents related to your investigation. We're going to enter into the record another letter from Chairman Jordan. This one's addressed to Attorney General Bondi. This letter seeks records related to the Arctic frost files, and it's dated October 29th of 2025. This will be Exhibit 9. And you might not be familiar with this document, so I'll give you a second to review it. It's not very long, though.
Okay, I've reviewed it.
So after reviewing it, are you now aware that Chairman Jordan has sought the production of files related to your investigation from the Department of Justice?
Yes.
And just to read that request, it's request number 2. It says, in quotes, all DOJ documents and communications referring or relating to Jack Smith's special counsel investigation for the period of November 18th, 2022 to January 20th of 2025. I just want to get a better understanding of this broad request of all DOJ documents and communications referring to your investigation. I guess what types or categories of documents are associated or would be associated with your investigative files?
There would be numerous documents. I mean, it was a prosecutor's office, so the sort of documents you would associate with a prosecutor's office.
Just to make it clear for the record, can you just give a few examples of what those records or memos might look like or what they might be about?
Prosecution memos, email correspondence with my staff, analysis of the case, things of that nature.
Would these documents include internal decision memos or other records of major decisions made by you and your team during the investigation?
Yes.
Do these files include communications with the Attorney General or the Deputy Attorney General during the course of your investigation?
I don't think I had any files that would fall into that category. I'm not sure if there'd be, my deputy also communicated with the Deputy Attorney General's office, so there may be, but I don't think that's to me.
Do these files include communications just with other DOJ offices? I think earlier you mentioned possible communications with the Solicitor General. Would those files include possible communications with that person?
Yes.
Can I just follow up on that for 1 sec?
Sure.
You had no communications with the Deputy Attorney General?
No, I took the question to mean in terms of like email or things of that nature. We met, I met with the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, at times at their request. So those things did happen. I'm just saying I don't recall me having any sort of email communications with either of them.
But in terms of the special counsel offices, just following up Mr. Golden's question, the office as a whole, if there were email communications between members of your team and the Attorney General or the Deputy Attorney General, would that probably be a part of your special counsel case files?
Yes.
And as far as you're aware, the current Department of Justice has full access to your documents and memos and files from your investigation, is that correct?
They should.
In fact, you reviewed those files in preparation for your appearance today, right?
Yes, we were given access to a computer that had files on it. I can't say that it's all the files, but we were given access to that, and I reviewed that in preparation of today.
Did you follow DOJ protocol in your decision-making, including consulting with relevant offices like the Public Integrity Section, the Office of Legal Counsel, and any other entities as required and encouraged by DOJ policy?
Yes.
Were there examples where these consultations were memorialized in writing, either before or after you met with these offices?
Yes.
So given the majority's claim that the investigation was biased, do you think the case files would help eliminate some of the majority's questions about the actions you took while special counsel?
I have no objection to people looking at the case file.